Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Reuters, and Monica Medina, former deputy administrator for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration during the Obama administration and general counsel during the Clinton administration. Monica, how unusual would it be for the Commerce Secretary to tell NOAA to falsify what happened and to basically tell the scientists to lie?
It's completely unprecedented. And on a weather forecast, on climate, it has happened in the past. And in fact, that's why Dr. Lubchenco, my boss, the administrator of NOAA, put in place a scientific integrity policy that is now what is the subject of the investigation that NOAA is undertaking. So it's unprecedented for a weather forecast, for a severe weather forecast, for a storm forecast to be corrected that way due to political pressure from above.
Fake news, Jeff Mason? You've heard the accusation many times.
I have, and I was in the Oval yesterday when the president addressed it. I mean, he's denying that he did that, but the reporting from our colleagues at the Post and the New York Times is pretty solid, and it would also be in line with the sort of the trend behind President Trump's views. When he sees something that comes across as critical of him, he pushes back, and he encourages his staff to push back as well. So it certainly would not seem unlikely that it was something he would have done.
When you looked at that map, we're showing it now with that bulge on the side, the protrusion, if you will, done in Sharpie. I mean, it wasn't even done very well. From your observation, you've been with him all the way. You've been to all these summits with him. You were the one asking the questions in Helsinki and elsewhere, you know, in Biarritz or wherever the heck you were in France. So, you know, I know you can't do handwriting analysis, but what is your best judgment? I
mean, I can't do handwriting analysis, and I don't know, but it does not seem out of the realm that it's something that either he would have done or directed one of his aides to do, because he just was doubling down on Alabama for days, giving the story legs in a way, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, when it may not have if he had just said, it turns out that data was older and not relevant at this point, but he didn't do that. That's not his instinct. It's not his instinct to do that on really anything policy related or otherwise, and it's not what he did in this case.
More broadly speaking, Monica, we're seeing a trend here throughout the government where science, good, solid science, is being negated, denied, scientists being forced out. The EPA, we see water pollution standards being lowered here just as we sit here today. And scientists in all of these agencies are being undercut.
Yes,
what do they do?
I think it's really important then for publications like ours and news shows like yours to call the president out on that. In Our Daily Planet, we write about this every single day, trying to bring truth to power, make sure people know that what the president says, our air is cleaner and our water is crystal clean, it's just not true. And now he's crossed a line that had not been crossed in 100 years, which is that our weather forecast, and particularly now in the era of climate change, when the weather is more like a national security crisis than ever before, it's really critical that that be correct.
In fact, the national security implications of climate change, the president, you were at the summit, and the president did not even attend at the G7 summit, the meeting on climate. We've got military leaders talking about the importance of this. The Navy is concerned. Admiral Stavridis, our diplomatic and global affairs advisor, has been telling us how concerned we are about our bases, which could be well underwater. It's affecting migration. It's affecting the coffee crops in Latin America, which is one of the things that are disempowering people, impoverishing people, and they're migrating to the north.
Yes, and the science, and you can talk to this better than I, but the science is 100% clear about climate change happening, and it is something that the president has cast doubt on for multiple reasons, political reasons certainly being one of them. One of his first acts coming into the White House was to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord, and you're right, at the G7 he didn't really want to talk about whether or not he believed climate change was man-made. It is part of a trend with this president to disregard science. At the same time as him saying, I believe in and I want clean water and I want clean air, but actions speak louder than words, and his actions on this have been much different from the consensus of the scientific community.
And we have to leave it there, unfortunately. Jeff Mason and Monica, thank you very much.
Thank you.